Trust is complex, and once shattered, it seems irretrievable. Apart from being something that I've personally gone from 0 to 100 in past situations, I've become more aware of how much of a lack we have in today's society. No one trusts anyone, it seems, especially in this pandemic time. And with the rise of fake news, misinformation, and horridly forwarded WhatsApp VCs, it's really hard to keep up. People don't trust their governments, their authorities, and even their partners, according to Twitter. So, as usual, I went asking, what does psychology and science have to say about all of this? It involves our hypertrophied cortex, the brain's outer surface where insight, planning, and abstract thoughts largely occur. Parts of the cortex let us do an amazing trick: transport ourselves into someone else's mind. Called theory of mind by psychologists, it's essentially our ability to think, if I were her, I would do this. It lets us forecast others' actions so that we can coordinate our behaviors with theirs. So there are different factors that affect our levels of trust, right? Going from the obvious to even the odd ones, like the shape of someone's eyes. Yes. But let's start with the basics. So in order to trust someone, our brain creates a model, a predictive model. When we meet someone for the first time, we subconsciously start to think, what is this person likely to do? Should I trust them? Should they trust me? And trust is a continuum, and it has been found to be associated with the amygdala. Especially when lost, there has been found to be decreased activity in the amygdala, which we've said before is heavily involved in emotions. And so we start to feel things like intense emotions like fear and anger. But from an evolutionary point of view, trust is both a good and a bad thing. I mean, while it's good to trust the rest of the tribe and community, it's probably not also always the wisest thing to do and can be dangerous because vulnerability. And the last thing both predator and prey want to be is vulnerable. But because of our negativity bias, which we've spoken about before, and our subconscious skepticism, a broken trust is really hard to repair because, you see, it goes against our survival instincts to trust in the first place. Trust takes time to build, and it requires consistency and sticking to one's word, which I'm sure you will agree isn't something the media coverage has done quite well in recent times. And so shutting oneself out is a very valid defense mechanism. Well, until it's not. So what does trust look like in the human body and especially the brain? Well, it turns out there is some hormone that technically could be called the trust hormone, but not really at the same time. I mean, can trust really be isolated to one single chemical? So, neuroscientist and author of the book The Trust Factor, Paul Zak, conducted a series of experiments and he got some very interesting results. Here's the summary. Following what I could only describe as some form of Ponzi scheme, which is having to trust that your money is going to come back to you or that money will come back to you. He found that there were higher levels of a particular hormone, oxytocin. But maybe that's a coincidence, right? Well, he then went on to apply the nasal spray of a synthetic form of oxytocin, and this showed even more remarkable results. Suddenly, everyone seemed to be more trusting, although maintaining rationality, meaning they weren't more prone to gambling, for example. And oxytocin is an important hormone in the bonding of newborn babies to their mothers. But as it turns out, it also mediates trust and creating a feeling of empathy. So how do we simply increase oxytocin of literally everyone on the planet? While it's probably not cost effective to go about spraying synthetic oxytocin into people's noses, also I'm pretty sure that's not legal. There are other things that we can do to enhance trust, especially among loved ones. And the first step seems to be consistency. I'll admit a lot of people struggle with, but there's also the place of transparency and admitting one's mistakes when necessary. It's not about being perfect and always being right, but it's more of the attitude shown. And rebuilding trust when it's been lost is an entirely different topic, especially because it takes a longer time and requires more effort. Building trust in general is difficult, but not necessarily impossible. Trust me. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Odao. I'm a doctor living in Nigeria who loves to explore human behavior through my work and art. Please subscribe if you haven't and click on the bell to stay notified. Please share any advice or thoughts you might have on this topic. I look forward to that, and I will see you in the comment section.